يريد الله ليبين لكم ويهديكم سنن الذين من قبلكم ويتوب عليكم والله عليم حكيم والله يريد أن يتوب عليكم ويريد الذين يتبعون الشهوات أن تميلوا ميلا عظيما يريد الله أن يخفف عنكم وخلق الإنسان ضعيفا الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه ومن استنى بسنته إلى يوم الدين اللهم اجعلنا منهم ومن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر آمين يا رب العالمين ثم أما بعد Inshallah, in this brief address, I'd first like to express my joy and my gratitude that Allah Azza wa Jalla gave me the opportunity to return to your community. Alhamdulillah, it's an absolute pleasure to see the construction completed and the masjid hustling and bustling at midnight. May Allah keep the masjid alive and well and keep all of you regular and committed to the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And may Allah make this a Ramadan that is accepted. And all of the worship we've engaged in it is accepted from us, and the blessings of this month that come out and extend to the rest of the year are that we remain sincere in all of our ibadat, and that we make sincere and actual, true, complete tawbah to Allah Azza wa Jal, and we remain strong against the waswasa of shaitan once he returns. Anyhow, I was told maybe 12 times this week, make sure it's about the youth. So, I've decided not to talk about these. Okay. Well, the first thing that popped in my head is something I say all the time, so I'll say it again. I think we have to treat our youth like adults. I think the fact that we treat them like youth stops them from maturing. We brand them into a special category and we want them to be, kind of separated from the adult setting. If you look at the seerah of Allah's Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he paid special attention to youth, but when he would teach, the children are sitting there. And some of his best students are children. So they're sitting among some of the Jalilul Qadr, Sahaba, some of the older Sahaba, and children and teenagers are sitting next to them, and it's all good. And they're learning just the same. And sometimes older Sahaba are learning from younger Sahaba as their teachers. This is a norm within the life of Allah's Messenger. And so again, even though I've said this before, I don't mind repeating it. In our society, and it's not just an American problem, it's a global problem, we refuse to treat children that reach the age of bulugh, they reach a certain age according to Sharia, according to Islam, they're legally adults, right? But as far as society is concerned, they're just teenagers. Or they're just 20. Or they're just 25. Oh, he's a tender 29. Or whatever. So we say, oh, they're just young, let them party, let them have some fun, they haven't grown up yet, let them live life a little. Listen, as far as our deen is concerned, the moment you hit a certain age, Allah declared you're an adult. So I have to treat you like one. And the deen treats you like one. And if you make a mistake, there's no juvenile court in the Sharia. If you're at a certain age and you commit a crime, the crime applies to you as it applies to someone who's 80 years old or 50 years old or 16 years old. It wouldn't matter now. Why? Because as far as the deen is concerned, you're an adult. Now the consequence of that is when you are spoken to as an adult and when expectations are made from you as expectations are made of adults, then you start acting like an adult because that is what is expected from you. But when it's expected from you to act like a child, then it's not a surprise that you're 18 years old, but 8 hours of your day are spent behind the Xbox 360 or the PS3 or whatever else. That's because you refuse to act like an adult. It's almost expected from you to be a goofball. And all of your friends around you think of themselves as, youngin or children or, not quite, old people yet, etc. So they act like a bunch of kids, and you're around them and it only reinforces that idea in your own head. And yet at the same time, you can have places in the world, even today, where 14, 15 years old kids are heads of the household. And they're taking care of the entire family. And that's a reality in a lot of the world. So in a society that's supposed to be, we're living in what was recently called by a friend of mine, Jannah on earth. The luxuries we have, if you compare them to what people are going through in Pakistan, right? It's not like we have luxury, we have Jannah here, right? And so for a society that's so advanced, for the maturity of our young people to be so far behind, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of a reverse engineering. Our children should be the most mature, but they're the least mature, unfortunately, and part of that is our own fault. We don't treat them like adults. We don't speak to them like adults. You know, I'll give you a childish example, but I think it gets the point across. You know, sometimes you have children, and you speak to them, like when you talk to them, you kind of sound retarded yourself. You talk to them like that. And so they talk back to you like that, and they could even turn 6 years old, and you tell them, and they're talking like that back to you. And you know, somebody else comes into your house, and an 8-year-old is acting like they're 3, and you're like, is this kid, does he suffer from mental problems? Is he okay? We thrown him to a specialist? No, it's our only child. We treat him a little special. No. And you'll find even in some homes when you have 3, 4-year-old kids, but the parents don't talk down to the children, they talk to them in an intelligent, coherent fashion, you'll find 3-year-old children making grammatically correct sentences too. Because Allah gave the human being that kind of an intellect. So that's the first thing I want to share with you. My special talk to the youth is not very special. It's for, inshallah ta'ala, myself and everybody. Because I personally expect a high level of intelligence from our young people. I expect it. I don't want to dumb anything down to them. I don't think they're dumb at all. Actually, I think some of the smartest people sitting in this room are what we are labeling as, oh, those silly youth. Right? They're some of the smartest people sitting in this room. And they know their way around technology and what's going on in the world far more than many of the old-timers here. For a lot of the old-timers, Twitter is something that happens in your eye. so anyhow, but now the point. This is one of the blessed nights of and towards the conclusion of this incredible month. And what better things to share with each other than a reminder from Allah's book? So I was thinking to myself, what kind of reminder, what I want to get for myself, and especially for a community at large, something that I've heard a lot of times that Allah Azza wa Jalla actually beautifully addresses is the question, what does Allah want? The question is, what does Allah want? Whenever you have an obligation to someone, you are in a position of, let's say you're an employee and you have a boss over you, or you're a student, you have a teacher over you, right? Or you're a soldier and you have a general over you. It's very important to understand what your boss or your general or your teacher or your parent wants. It's very important to know what do they want. If you don't know what they want, then you're going to fail at your responsibilities. And sometimes they give you